Welcome back to week 2 of
Launch in
28 Days of Love,
where love sharpens
when you refuse to give up.
beginning February 1st
Through the 28th at 6 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time. Week 2 looks like this.
We have Dre and Auntie Hubbard on
Monday, February 6th
at 6 p.m.
and O'Kersey and Shalinda Miller
Tuesday, February 7th
at 6 p.m.
and then Newton and Aldrina Miller
Wednesday, February 8th at 6 p.m.
and then Veronica Brown on
She's our single and stable girl
that's Thursday, February 9th
at 6 p.m. But wait a minute, don't forget date night on Friday.
That's where you sharpen those love tools.
Exactly. We're going to get on board of the love train. Then there's Saturday,
Just the two of us.
covenant time. And don't forget,
The intimacy of worship.
that's our Sunday where we can worship together. Now, there's nothing to do on those days here, but make sure you spend that time together. And catch us again on
28 Days of Love. We'll broadcast live nightly on Facebook Live
6 p.m.
or on our YouTube page, Launch TV.
TV. Make sure you're there. All right, guys, this is week 2.
Love sharpens.
When you refuse to give up. We'll see you at 6 p.m.
Welcome to 28 Days of Love.
Yeah. Look, we don't practice when we're the note we start. We just start singing. But you know what? That's okay because that's what covenant does.
The note one right?
No, if we don't know which note we're both coming in
Oh,
on,
okay.
but it all works. It's all good. It works together. Hi, everybody. How y'all doing tonight? How are you doing tonight? We have just been so blessed with, let me just take this off, with all the different guests that we had on this week. Last week was so good. The first night was so good with our very own friends, the Hendersons. And then the next night we had the the Strawberries. You better come on if you don't know Jonathan Cindy. It's been a blessing. Then we rolled around to Auntie the Hubbards. Powerful, and so kept it to the real of the real.
Yeah, you know, remember that movie? Kept it real. You real.
I loved it.
What movie was it?
And then we had, it was You Ain't Real, You Ain't Represent.
Yeah,
that was the movie with the hot sauce and
the
our kids used to talk about it all the time.
Yardbirds
spit on that with a hot sauce. Yeah. That's another one. They were so real.
Mm-hmm.
And then yesterday, wait, why am I forgetting who we had? How would I forget my bestie? We had Shalinda and O'Kersey Miller, or O'Kersey and Shalinda Miller, and they were so powerful. We just enjoyed them so much. They had wisdom for days.
Yeah, that's you want to watch that replay.
Yeah, Newton and I talked about it last night. He was talking about how much stuff he learned last night.
And you can catch all the replays. Yeah. You can catch all the replays in our group. There's a group says 28 Days of Love. You can join that group. It's a public group. Just go ahead and join it, and you'll be able to go to the guides and see each of the replays for each of the days. So what we did was we left the content up there from last year. So as a day comes, we just erase that content from the same day last year.
Yeah.
So at least you can see, if you like what you see, you can see stuff from last year too. Mm-hmm. But it'll only stay until that day goes. So now listen, without further ado, we have two some look, he's hurried up and come back.
Take your time. It's okay. It's okay, son.
We have a wonderful young couple. This is another Millers. We had Millers last night. We got another Miller, seven Millers tonight. So this young couple, Newton the third and Aldrina. Oh man, we're just blessed with great son-in-laws and daughters-in-laws.
Yeah, daughter-in-laws, son-in-laws, because we don't do the law thing. Man. But anyway, they we're the Miller twos.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're the Miller
threes.
So they're better. They are not better. They're the better version.
That's
so we're gonna go ahead and bring them into the room right now.
And we appreciate
but so you can. There they are. So we got Newton Jr. How y'all doing today?
Ran home from work, and we appreciate it so much. Thank you.
I know.
But that's the life of a principal.
Yeah. So what we really appreciate is we get to get the flavor of that millennial generation and what married life is like. You know, the struggles and the hustles, because I know
and
it from
hard
ours.
work.
Right, but I don't understand it from theirs. So
well, we watch,
right,
we see it,
right. And I
and
totally
it's like,
respect it. Yeah.
How they get all this done in that short period of time, and we're gonna find out tonight.
Yeah. So you can look. Nuke still got his work face on. He's still like, did they really do that?
At the kids.
So where the kids at? Upstairs? They all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they can feel free to come on through.
That's what I was wondering. Will Newt stay up there? He gonna come down. That pop. So listen, this is 28 Days of Love, everyone, and what we're doing is just celebrating love and marriage. And I'm just gonna kind of jump into a question. All right. Ahead. I want to know, how did you two meet and what attracted you to each other?
Whose version you want? You want my version or you want her
both of them. We want both versions.
Two different stories.
We want Drina to start.
So we had this thing called Chicken Thursdays in the calf, and that's about the only time I went to the calf. And I went that day, and I kind of sat down at a table and was having a sandwich. And then like diagonal across was Newt, and I'm there with my roommate, and she's like, "Who's that guy keeps staring at you?" And I'm like, I look up, and when I look up, we just kind of like lock eyes. Okay. And I was like, I don't know. So I went on about my day, and then later on that day, I saw his roommate, who I had already known previously, and I was like, "Who's that guy that was sitting with you at the table today in the calf?" And he was like, "You talking about Newt?" And I was like, "I guess, I don't know." And he was like, "I'm gonna tell him you said what's up." And I was like, "No, you don't have to do that." And then I kind of just went on about my day. And then later on, I ran into Newt. And he asked me my name, and I told him, and he was like, "Okay." And I was like, "That's all you want to know?" And then he was like, "Yeah." And then it just kind of like, the rest was history. I saw him again, and we exchanged numbers. No, I think I took your number. I wouldn't give you mine. I took his number, and then I still never like reached out. So I saw him like a week later, and he was like, "What's up? You know, why you didn't call me? Why you didn't text me?" And then finally I did, and we went from there.
Okay. So what's your version?
No, that wasn't as bad as I thought. I think a lot of it's true. So we did meet in college. Right. It was toward the end of my season in college, and you know, we were in there for Chicken Thursday. I'm always in the calf, right? I go to the calf every day. But it's Chicken Thursday, so it's fried chicken. The calf's pretty packed, but by this time it's dying down. Right. And I'm just in there hanging out with a few friends. And I just look up, and she's just like grilling me. So I'm like, all right, okay, what's going on here? I'm like, who is that? You know, and then a person that I knew, who she knew as well, told me who she was. And then I was like, oh, okay. But then the rest is actually true. Then, you know, I did try to, set the trap. So I asked her, you know, what's your number? Because I wanted her to see me. I didn't know if she like really saw me, you know? I just wanted her to see me. Like, what's your name? Right. I wanted to, you know, rent some space out in her brain for a little bit. Okay. Before I actually went in and made the move. So to answer the second part, what attracted me was I think it was the first conversation, like the first real sit down conversation. And she told me about like her family, how, you know, her mom and dad are together. They've been together forever and all of that stuff. And that just was like interesting to me, because at that time I didn't know too many people who were like that. Right. So I think that's just like, you know, that sat with me a little bit. Oh, she's different. She comes from a different type of stock. So right. I was like invested that way. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So wait, Dream, you didn't tell us what attracted you to him.
Probably, like he said, I wouldn't say the first conversation, but I think it was when he just asked me my name, and then I said, "Is that it?" And he said, "Yeah." And then I think that kind of like, turned my brain on. That was different for me,
Okay. So
just want to know my name and that's it. So I think that's what started the attraction. I was like, that's different. And
so
then,
he put you on the hunt.
yeah, kind of. Even though I was still playing hard to get, because I wouldn't give him my number. I took his, and then I played the little weight game.
Right.
So, and then when he was still interested when he saw me, he just didn't, forget about it. I think that turned it on for sure. So
Okay.
I like hearing these stories.
Little strategy there. So I heard her research. She did some research.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that? She found out some things, and he had a little strategy to him.
Mm-hmm. He said, but the funniest part is that she saw him grilling her,
but
he said she was grilling him. So that's actually really funny, because everybody's got their own little story, but it all works together. They both were probably grilling each other.
So listen, we know a little bit about you two. We both know that you're kind of I want to say purpose driven, if you will. So we want to ask a question to you two. That's a risky question for others because it uses the word mission.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to know if you guys have on purpose or an unspoken kind of mission.
Yeah.
For your family and what it is that you're doing together.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was that exact language is what we use, but we do write down our goals and our vision.
Wow.
And of course, it's all, woven together, right? So her, dreams and her goals, they're heavily weighted based on what my dreams and my goals are as well. Because, we're building this life together. And though some parts are different, a lot of that fabric is kind of built and, like I said, woven together. But I think the overarching goal or vision or mission for our family and our marriage is just to stay together, right? Just to make sure, that leaving is not an option, right? It's not it's not an option. It's not a thought. So whatever, trials, whatever, hurdles we need to hop, we're going to do it together, just knowing that whatever or wherever we land, we're not going separate ways, right?
Yes.
We're still going to keep going together. So
love it. So the foundation, that whole mission is together. Wow, that's heavy. So let me just push the envelope a little bit and ask you a open-ended question. What does marriage mean to you? That's a big one.
it don't matter.
Okay. I think for me, marriage means one.
Wow.
I don't know how else to put it. It's like, yeah, we're different people, but our brains, our bodies, physically, emotionally, it's like one now.
Wow.
And I think that you didn't ask this part, but the toughest part is the emotional part, right? The physical, we're around each other all day, right? If we're not at work, we're with each other physically, right? But the emotional piece is tough because we're so different.
Yes.
That way. So, and it's interesting to see how when she's emotionally dysregulated, I'll use, right? Or like her emotions are negatively impacted or heightened in one way. It doesn't matter what state I'm in, I'm going to be affected, right? I'm going to be impacted by that, and then my emotions may change.
Yes. Yes.
Part of that is, we're in proximity of each other, but the other part is just like we're tied. We're one.
Yes.
So, I mean, we've been having that conversation a lot and talking about how, when I come home and I'm happy and you're not, now I'm not. Or when I come home and I'm not happy and you are, if I don't get happy soon,
it's going to bring me down.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And I'm very, very, very emotional. So I think in the beginning, he had a hard time kind of attaching with that.
Right.
And I would be like, you don't care, or why you not, showing me that, you're concerned about this. Right. But I think over time, with what marriage is like learning each other.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I can definitely see that switch and that change of him being more emotional and intact with me.
Wow.
And vice versa.
So you kind of give me two directions to go. You touched on something a little bit earlier about your differences, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit, like, what are some of the differences that you have with one another? But go a little further and tell me how they fit together as pieces of a puzzle for your marriage, to work and be successful.
I think there's a lot of differences. And I think a lot of them we don't even realize until we're faced with them, right? And it's like, oh, we're different there. But I think if I had to give a theme or, put it in a box almost, or like a little, gift wrap it for you, I think the main thing would be our mind, not our mindset, because that's the same, but like the approach to a situation. So if we're looking at a problem, we're both faced with the same problem. We both know that, this is urgent. I'm going to take a more logical approach, right? I'm going to try to plan it out. I'm going to try to figure it out. I'm going to try to see it from all angles, analyze, all of those different things, right? That's just who I am. She's not going to do that, right? She's looking at it like, okay, this is the problem, right? How do I feel about this problem? And what do I need to do to make this feeling go away?
Yeah.
Right. And then the problem will go away, right? As long as I don't feel the problem, it's like the problem goes away. So that's how I see it in my mind. That might not be, her spin on it or her perspective, but I see it like, okay, we really need to think this out. We need to talk it out. And I think through that lens, then we see a lot of differences, right?
Okay.
But I think that to answer the second part of your question, how does it fit? I think that almost how it has to be, right? It has to be like we balance. So when she's looking at a situation and she's too emotionally attached to it, I bring that logical piece to it to kind of balance out. Right. But if I'm too logical and I'm not emotionally attached at all, then I come off as insensitive and I can't solve the problem, or I can't appease or best serve whatever if there's other humans involved, right? So she has that piece to it. So I think we fit together pretty well, but it hurts, right? It's not comfortable. Right. When somebody's invading that space within you to where you bring this part of me that I don't necessarily want to feel, right? I don't want to be emotional. So when you bring that in, it's not always going to feel good, but it's going to be good, right?
Yes. Wow.
That's a fact.
You got something to add to that, Dreen, or you want us to roll on from there?
No, let her talk.
I can agree definitely to what he says. I'm the one, and sometimes when he's way too logical for me, and I'm like, okay, you're overthinking this, and you're way up here, and we're here. Like, can we bring it back down? He always says, like, especially like when it comes to a problem, he's always said like, my faith has just always been like way up here. Like something goes wrong, and I'm just like, oh, it'll be all right tomorrow. I'm not even gonna worry about it. He's like, well, can you look at it this way? Like, this problem is this big. How can you just think, oh, it'll be gone tomorrow? But that's how we've always worked. And sometimes I'm like, okay, you're right. Like, it's real. Okay, so we really got to come up with a plan and think this out and get through it. So that balance, like you said, always has just been great for us.
Wow. So you learn to make it work to your advantage.
Yes. But like you said, it's not always easy. It's hard sometimes, especially me being the emotional one and he's the logical one. When you have to break those boundaries and come together and make it work, it's tough sometimes.
I love it. By design, and some people can agree with this theology or ideology, or some people can disagree, but by design, a woman was created to be a nurturer. You take a thing into you and you make it something different. I always say you give your wife $100, she'll come back with a week's worth of groceries. You give her a house, she'll make it a home. You give her a sperm, she'll give you a baby. You give her grief and she'll give you hell. Okay. You know what I mean? She's gonna nurture it, she's gonna make it greater. So there's a lot of feelings involved with that. And we're more external, we're more structural. And how does this work? How do I make this thing work? We're depositors. So what you guys just said kind of confirms that whole thing. I mean, I love the way that you guys have embraced that, if you will. So let me kind of push that those things about each other. Are there things that you do intentionally for each other to help each other grow?
Yeah, like sharpening each other.
100%. And I think from my vantage point, right? You only can speak for you, but
right.
I think that I've recognized that is my weakness, right? For lack of a better term, that is my area of growth. So what I intentionally do is I push back against myself. So I'm always in situations where I'm thinking like, okay, let's look at how you're looking at it. Are you too logical? Are you not considering the different factors? And I think, okay, how would Drina look at this? Wow. But what I do to sharpen myself and her is I will talk her head off. Like, I will just ride in the car, and for 2 hours while we're riding to her mom's house, I am just talking, because I need her to hear how my mind works when she's not there, right? When I'm sitting in the shower, when I'm riding in the car, like what all goes through my head so that she can better understand me. And then I encourage her, right? I push her to share, because although she's emotional, she doesn't always share everything, right? So I know that that's an area that she has to grow in. So I encourage her, I prompt her to share those things, and so that we can break that barrier and we can become more cohesive, right?
That's wonderful.
So that when we're not together, she knows exactly how I would respond to the situation, and I know how she would respond to the situation. So again, back to that one thing,
right.
In my definition of marriage.
Love it.
Wow. So I'm hearing a theme from what Newt just said, and I'm just going to give it a quick acronym: ACT. ACT. He said, be aware, communicate, and be transparent. So I love that. I love that theme. Anything from you, Drina? What do you do to help Newt grow?
I pray.
Wow.
I'm not a really big, and this is something that has been a learning experience for me. I'm not really a big talker.
Okay.
Or sometimes I have to go and talk to God first and figure it out, and then come back to the table. And sometimes that's frustrating for him because he's at the table right now, or we're talking about now, and he's like, you don't want to talk about it. And it's like, I do want to talk about it, but I know sometimes, when emotions are running high and the feelings are all over the place.
Right.
So for me, that's not always the best time for me to talk, because I may say something that I might not even mean in 3 minutes to an hour. So like for him, I pray.
Wow.
Because
she's just telling y'all she's smarter than me. That's all. That's all that was.
No.
That's all that is, Ray. That's all that is.
That is right.
No, I just want to make sure that I mean, I know we're all gonna make mistakes, but I just want to make sure I get it right. So I'm just I'm not quick to speak. You know, I listen and I observe and I go talk to God about it. And I know more than anything, you know, God gotta, you know, I pray to God so he can help me help him.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So I have to ask you, because that's like maturity in its, we just did a teaching on maturity. That's like one of the higher levels of maturity, a Greek word called wheels. But so like, where did you learn that? Do you read Proverbs? I mean, were you mentored that? Is that what you saw in your parents? Or, I mean, is that just what worked for you? How'd that come about?
I guess you could say mentored or parents or, you know, just going to church. I grew up in the church a lot. And my mom is a huge prayer warrior. Like she prays about everything. I've seen her overcome a lot from prayer. So just growing up in the church, listening to the word and knowing that everything comes through God first. So that's where I always seek. That's my source.
I love it. I love it. This is good stuff. I'm hearing a theme in these wonderful marriages about prayer, about listening, you know, and about communication. I'm hearing a theme in with some of the other folks. So I want to ask you a more difficult question, because I mean, we've been married 23 years. This is both our second marriage. So that means we understand that there's often times where things can get rocky, things can get rough, things can get tough. What are some of your go-to strategies when those spirited conversations, you know, pop up their head?
I think that is a difficult question. I mean, we've had, you know, some spirited, some colorful conversations, but I don't think I'm not a believer that one or two strategies will always work. I think that everything is situational. But what I will say always works is to look at yourself, right? You know, to yourself, you need to be true, right? So you have to really sit back and look at your role in it. You know, I don't want to go too far off subject, but just a quick activity that I'll do at like a kid in a school is two kids got problems and I see that neither one of them wants to admit they're wrong. I'll create like on a plate, put a circle and then partition the plate into a whole bunch of different, you know, sections, and then say, okay, out of this pie, how much of it are you willing to own, right? How much of it was your fault, right? And then, you know, they either say, you know, this or that. But then what I would do is I would reward them with some type of positive reinforcement, maybe a piece of canned Skittle or something, to say, this is how much you were willing to own. So I want to say thank you for owning that part. So internally, that's what I do for myself. I look at the situation and I say, all right, my emotions are here. I may have said this. I may have done this. How much of that was really on me, right? And then I actually reward myself like verbally, right? That yes, you took ownership of that part, because I think as a man, I think as a person, one of the hardest things to do is admit when you are absolutely wrong.
Yes, indeed.
And absolutely out of character. So I think one thing that we should do as a society is we should start to celebrate and reward people for doing just that, for admitting that they're wrong.
That's good.
That they should have handled something differently.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I like that.
Yeah, that's really good.
I think another part is being open. being open to both sides, open and being, owning your own ownership, but then also being open to the other person. Never not knowing the situation and what you may or may not do when you're in that situation. So I think that's a huge one too. Not just having the ownership, but being open to your spouse.
Okay. So you mean like seeing it from
Yes.
their okay.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
And the benefit of the doubt, man.
Yeah.
The benefit of the doubt. So I think that's also a tough one because you get wrapped up in you, right?
Okay. Okay.
And only seeing it from your side. Like she said, you got to consider the other side.
Yes.
But because that's my wife, I consider the other side through a lens of that's not what she meant. Right? She didn't mean to hurt me. She didn't mean to do that. And if we can, again, I mean, this is not just marriage. This is partnerships everywhere, on the workplace, wherever. If we can give the other person the benefit of the doubt and kind of expand that empathy within them, right? To imagine how it must have felt to be that person that was on the receiving end.
That's so good.
Yes.
Then I think we can grow.
Yes. Yeah. I gotta piggyback on that one because this is something we experienced because we've had some rough times in our marriage in actually split for a moment. When we came back together, one of the things that really worked for us, and it's going to sound trivial, but I realized that we were on the same team.
Yep.
And what you just said, I translated it into that we on the same team. Right. She ain't trying to hurt me. Right. And I ain't trying to hurt her. So actually what's being said, you know what I mean? So that's powerful, very powerful. Thank you for pulling that. I ain't mean to mansplain it or nothing, but but yeah, that one was really, really, really good.
Yeah, Newt says that used to say that often to remind me and to remind himself that we're on the same team. There's not a offense against a defense, not that. But what she says, she didn't mean it that way. What she meant was this, because I know her.
Took me about 13 years to figure that out.
Yeah, it took us, and absolutely.
I'm still learning it. I'm still learning because I take, like I said, I'm an emotional person. I take everything personal. Like, we'll be having a conversation and he can say one thing, and then when it's my turn to talk, and I'm like, well, what you mean by and he was like, Drina, out of all of that, that's what you heard? Like, you're stuck on that. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm offended. You know what I mean? So I have to tell myself that, like, okay, that man, he loves me. We're on the same team. We're in this together. So I'm still learning that.
Yeah, it's heavy, almost to the point that I'll say there's no plot. Exactly. There's no plot, no plan. It's not a what's the word called, a conspiracy. I'm not trying to do that. You know what I mean? But I realize that we're two different designs. We're two different designs, and we're moving in the same direction, but our responses and reactions to what's happening are going to be very, very different. So I really, you guys said some super gems. I'm hoping all of you that are out there listening now or they're going to watch the replay, that you're taking notes on this. They're giving you some principles.
That's what it is.
They're giving you principles that you can. They're giving you the mayonnaise on the piece of bread.
No mayonnaise. I like butter.
All right, butter, mustard, jelly, peanut butter, whatever it is. They're giving you what the spread on the whole piece of bread. They're not just giving you a pickle, to put on top. They're giving you some real good principles.
So wait, I just want to say this. First of all, I just want to thank you guys. The other thing I want to say is, can you guys just tell them your age? Yeah. And how long you've been married?
She's supposed to tell people how old she ain't that wrong.
Oh, she's beautiful. She can tell her age.
I'm 31. I'll be 32 in a few days. Yep. And
I'm 29. And I will be 30 next month.
Okay.
And how long have you guys been married?
9 years this year, September.
The reason why I did that is because Newt and I, it took us some time because we were married before, as little Newt knows, and anybody else who knew us. So when we came into this relationship, and that's why we wrote the book Baggage Claim, we came with a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And then when we came together, although our heart was to help build each other up in the relationship, we came with a lot of defense because we were trying to protect what was already hurt.
Right.
So the reason why I'm so excited about, and I don't want to call them millennium, but I want to say these guys and anyone else who learned it quickly from watching others, was able to say, no, I don't want to start mine on the defense, but to come in where we're working together. And the reason why I wanted to share that and really talk about that is because you don't have to wait until you turn 50 or wait 15 or 13 years. It doesn't have to happen like that. Get these principles now.
Start out that way.
And they're gonna work differently in your household than they do someone else. And guess what? If it does take you 50 years, but you get it, then you get it. The key is getting it and growing from there. So I just wanted to commend you guys. I appreciate it so much. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
So we are at time for this half hour, but I want to say something because obviously I have a personal bias and a bias for these two. But something that I heard Newt say, it might have been 2 years ago. I think we were on a family Zoom during the COVID time. Remember we used to do those family Zooms? And Newt said, we were talking about Drina, and he said, everything we have, we got together. Right? And I mean, it sounds like such a simple statement, but I froze in my tracks when I heard that. Because for a lot of years, I didn't operate that way in our marriage. I mean, we made things work together, but I didn't always see it as what we were building was together. That was such a revelation to me, and I was so happy that at their age they already see that. I'm like, man, when they get, because we were 33 when we got remarried. I'm like, when they get our age, man, it's going to be such an amazing relationship. So,
but the scripture talks about leaving a heritage. And sometimes people look at the scripture heritage and thinking it means money. A heritage also means example.
Yes.
It means revelation. It means experiences. It means so that children can take off from where you left off and say, okay, thanks, mom and dad, but I got this from here. My cousin Troy Hopkins used to lay like this and put his arms out. He said he had a plateau where his children would then pick up from there. And that's what's supposed to happen. Greater works. Something even greater. So yeah.
So as we move out to let these two go and get back to what they got to do, I'm going to do two things. Please tell us what you have going on. So I know you have a business dream. I don't know how far you reach or what you can do online or not. I know Newt, you have some things going. We haven't talked, so I don't even know what you have new. I'm sure you got something. So kind of tell us what you have going on, how people can reach you, take advantage of those things, and then after that, give us one last word. Give us a tidbit. Drop some science. One nugget. One nugget that you want everybody to have. A takeaway, an exit ticket, if you will, to help them go, grow, and glow in their relationship and their marriage.
So I have an event planning company called Opulent Events and Design. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram. You can also email me if you have any inquiries at opulent.eventsinfo@gmail.com. And I can send you that, Miss Kim, if you want me to.
You're putting it in there now.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
And the gem that I would want to leave is just keep God first in everything you do. Every day isn't going to be great. There comes trials, but keeping God first and taking that time out of each day to just pray. I do it every morning. Sometimes Newt thinks I'm asleep, or sometimes I do it when he's asleep late at night. I'm a night owl. So I pray over him and my children and my house every day.
Wow.
So just keep God first. And I promise, like, even if you can't see it, it's there.
Yes, it is.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I am, I work for her, right?
Yes, I love it.
So we are going to make that business grow to its full potential. So,
and there's no limits for me. I travel wherever. So yep, just reach out.
Yeah.
And on the side, you know, in my private time, I am capturing all my thoughts, you know, professional thoughts, personal thoughts, because I'm trying to craft, or I'm in the process of writing my own book. Talking about, you know, diaries of first year AP.
That's good.
Some of my experiences there, and just being married at this young age, and then all the intangibles that come with that, all the residuals, you know, and trying to help people, you know, who did make this choice to get married, right? Yeah. You know, just through my lens and some of the struggles that I went through and some of the triumphs as well. The nugget that I would leave is, I think it would be take care of you. You can't pour from an empty cup. And I think a lot of times as men in society, particularly Black men, the Black men that I know, they're so busy trying to make things work, trying to make things fit, you know, and trying to, you know, gloss everything a certain way that we forget that at the end of the day, I still have to ride with me. I still take a shower, you know, and have to think and sit with myself, and I have to live with my thoughts. So just put good stuff in your body, not good. Just, you know, food, but like listen to good stuff. And that's something that I'm learning. When I do stray away from putting the good things in my body, the bad things come out. So just take care of yourself.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm gonna resist the urge to kind of piggyback on you guys are dropping some stuff, man.
It's just
dropping
some
stuff for
relationships.
Yes.
And the 28 days of love, the whole purpose of that was not for lofty conversations or for anything to just show this fluff and cloud, but to keep it real as how things can be great. It can be difficult, but it's work. And so the things that you guys are sharing is so beneficial for someone else. It's your reasonable service to tell someone else how they can make it and how you're making it.
And right in the thick of things. You guys are right in the thick of things. You know, it's still new. All the investments are new. House, you know, car, all those career, all those things are still new. So we're so proud of you. We thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much. We know that you're busy. And so everyone, give a round of applause in the virtual world for the Millers Miller third edition, right? the greater edition.
It's better every time.
Yep. And then you got a fourth edition in the house, right? So we saw him a little earlier. Listen, you guys, we'll see you tomorrow night with one of our singles. I forget the name.
Yes,
Veronica Brown. Right. So we'll have a single on tomorrow night for those of you who have been waiting for the single to happen. Again, go to our you can catch it on our Facebook pages, Launched with Kim and Dr. Newt, our personal pages. It's in our YouTube channel, Launch 360 TV. Yeah. And also, I encourage you go to that 28 Days of Love Facebook group. Because that group runs all year long. We'll change the name back to Marriage Simple as Pie after this month, but you'll be able to catch all of this in one place. You won't have to search and scroll. It's all there in one place. We encourage you to post up tips, pictures, celebrations that have to do with your marriage and your relationship. So that's a place where we can encourage each other.
And also, just to let you guys know, last year Aldrina was the one that gave me the information for date nights.
That's right.
So I created videos for each Friday. So if you want to look at some of the ideas that she had, some of the ones this year were given to me by Brittany Walker. So just to share that. The other thing is some of these videos, you never know. You might have some couples over your house. Pull one up. Because maybe some of them may need to hear some encouraging things. It's kind of like that in-house group stuff. What do they call that now with churches? Life groups.
Life group. All right, you guys. Thank you very much for tuning in for 28 Days of Love.
Love you guys. Thank you.
And go do and produce and be great. We love you.
Good night.
Welcome back to week 2 of
Launch in 28 Days of Love, where love sharpens
when you refuse to give up.
Beginning February 1st
through the 28th at 6 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time. Week 2 looks like this.
We have Dre and Ante Hubbard on
Monday, February 6th
at 6 p.m.
and O'Kersey and Shalinda Miller.
Tuesday, February 7th
at 6 p.m.
And then Newton and Aldrina Miller.
Wednesday, February 8th at 6 p.m.
And then Veronica Brown.
She's our single and stable girl.
That's Thursday, February 9th
at 6 p.m. But wait a minute, don't forget date night on Friday.
That's where you sharpen those love tools.
Exactly. We're going to get on board of the love train. Then there's Saturday.
Just the 2 of us.
Covenant time. And don't forget
the intimacy of worship.
That's our Sunday where we can worship together. Now there's nothing to do on those days here, but make sure you spend that time together. And catch us again on
28 Days of Love. We'll broadcast live nightly on Facebook Live,
6 p.m.
or on our YouTube page, Launch
TV. Make sure you're there. All right, guys, this is week 2.
Love sharpens
when you refuse to give up. We'll see you at 6 p.m.